The following is a Tony Lasano podcast, an Opie show on the Radio Misfits Podcast Network. This is Free Kicks. So, Adam, I know that this show is a show about soccer/football, but there's a bigger story happening in jolly old England this week. There's a reunion.
Yes, there is.
Are you excited?
This could be one of the biggest months of August. I'm already putting in my time for vacation for the whole month of August.
Yeah, it's Oasis is gotten back together again. The brothers who hate each other's guts have somehow decided that they can live with each other for a little bit, for a few shekels, I'm guessing is what finally put them over the edge, right?
Yeah, exactly. I can't even anticipate. I mean, I think they said 10 shows. I think that's what they're looking at doing. And this is just in England, Scotland, potentially Ireland as well.
And Wales, I saw. Yeah.
And Wales, yeah. And, it's going to be monumental. Sellouts every single time. It's Taylor Swift, that type of level, for sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, it also means there's going to be at least one less Manchester City fan in the stands at the beginning of the season. But that means it's time again for us to get into the soccer discussion because it is time for Free Kicks.
And now, Free Kicks. Free Kicks with Illinois Youth Soccer Association's Director of Coaching, Adam Howarth, and Rick Kemper.
So we have 2 weeks of Premier League football under our belts, and after 2 games, basically, we have 7 teams that are undefeated, which, you know, is not really a lot if you think about it. Only really. 2 games. So already some of these teams are starting to separate themselves from the pack. Man City, Brighton, Arsenal, and Liverpool won both of their games. I think Arsenal and Liverpool both have not given up a goal yet. They have clean sheets.
Yeah, 4 goals, 4. Yep.
Yep. Tottenham, Newcastle, and Nottingham Forest each have a win and a draw, but have not lost yet. And so those are your teams. Every other team in the league has lost at least 1 game. So let me ask you this before we get to the other teams. Of that bunch that I just mentioned, who is impressing you the most so far?
In terms of the top 6?
In terms of those 7 teams that just have not lost yet. I'm sure Nottingham Forest is not one of them, so let's go with the other 6.
Yeah, they're a surprise, let's say. I think you have to look at it in a couple of ways. I think in terms of their play that's been really good. I've been pretty impressed with Arsenal in the fact that they've had a tough game in terms of their second one against a team that finished 4th last year in Aston Villa and beat them. So definitely you can regard that as being probably impressive. And it seems like they're getting goals from everywhere. So I think that would be it. I mean, you can't not be impressed by Manchester City. It's the Erling Haaland show every week, it seems like.
And they had a tough game also against Chelsea in the opening act.
Yeah, exactly. But I would actually say Liverpool partly because new coach, potentially new system, a lot of new things, really haven't signed anybody at all. And they've won both their games without conceding a goal. So they're doing something right. So I would say in terms of probably from a pressure standpoint, Arne Slot probably had the most pressure on him, obviously coming in after a legend.
Right.
And he's doing okay so far. Can't complain.
You know, the team that I've watched now a couple times that is really impressing me is Brighton.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Of course.
Brighton and Hove Albion, they've got that young wunderkind coach. And and they never have quite the stars that the other clubs have. But, they have been doing it right for a few years now. Let's give them some credit.
Oh, absolutely. And not to take anything away from them, it's very similar situation. New manager, new team. I think my perspective is the expectations are never necessarily fantastically high at Brighton. They're like, yeah, if we get in the top 6, would be great, but maybe their expectations may be increasing a little bit. We'll see.
Yeah. All right, so those are the undefeateds. We also have the 0-pointers, which is, after 2 games, they've managed nothing. There are 5 teams that fit in that category. And they are Southampton, which is at -2 goals, Crystal Palace at -3, Ipswich at -5, Wolves -6, and Everton at -7. Now, I've watched a little bit of Southampton and watched a little bit of Crystal Palace. I think they both had their moments. I mean, they're not playing terribly. And I think they'll both turn it around. But, boy, Everton, rough. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I think Everton is probably out of those bottom teams. They're probably in the worst amount of trouble in terms of leaking goals, not playing well, not seemingly on the same page. So it's a concern. I mean, especially one of the goals where it was just kind of taken off Pickford's foot there at the end this past week. So that was tough. And I would probably give Ipswich a bit of a pass in the fact that they played Manchester City and Liverpool in their first 2 games. I mean,
that's fair.
Welcome to the Premier League. I mean, let's be honest. That's not an easy start. They have scored a goal. So
they have
only -5, so I guess that could be a positive. But
and that goal was against Man City.
That's right. Well, that's what happened. I think they didn't really read the script. They scored first.
I know. I watched that game. It was like you could see the look in the eyes of the other team, like, "Hey, wait a minute, it's time to crush you."
Exactly. You should not have done that. You have poked the bear, and then all of a sudden, Erling Haaland's got 3 goals already. So that was not good. But I give them a little bit of pass. Wolves, I think, obviously had a rough game against Chelsea on the weekend. But, I would agree with you. Everton is probably in need of a little bit of inspiration somewhere, somehow.
Yeah. I mean, they're having a hard time even holding on to the players they already have. Right? Like Calvert-Lewin is staying, supposedly. But, teams are hovering around him. They really don't have a ton of talent on that team.
Yeah, it's probably an aging team in terms of where they're at. I mean, they've got a new stadium that's kind of waiting in the wings, I guess you could say.
Right.
So that's something that could potentially happen here very soon. It's getting closer and closer. I don't think it's going to be ready until probably maybe middle of the season potentially. But I think it's more likely to be at the next year. But the only concern is
the greatest championship league stadium ever.
Exactly. That's why I think I'm more concerned about that. They're going to have the best stadium in the championship. So we'll see.
All right. Last year I started a feature called the Odd Stat of the Week, and I just kind of looked through the statistics to find some interesting little tidbits. And after 2 weeks, I found this. All right. 44 players have scored goals in the Premier League so far. Do you want to guess how many of those 44 were English players?
Ooh. I'm thinking. So give me. You want a number from the 44?
Yeah.
I'd say maybe half, maybe 22.
10.
Oh, okay, there you go.
10 of the 44. The rest of the goals were scored by players from 23 different countries, which this is the stat, the odd stat is how many different countries are playing and succeeding in the Premier League. And this is why this is the most popular league in the world. Norway, Egypt, South Korea, Ivory Coast, Brazil, Mali, Belgium, Colombia, Portugal, Germany, Nigeria, Senegal, Croatia, Cameroon, Japan, Ghana, Spain, Argentina, Czech Republic, Ireland, Congo, New Zealand, and the Netherlands. All of those countries have at least one player who scored a goal this year. in only 2 games.
Like 26, 27 countries. That's amazing.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Wow.
All right, let's talk about the transfer window because it does close this weekend. And then, which means next week, we're going to be doing our predictions, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Right.
Exactly.
So buckle up for that. Here are some of the. Now, there's a lot of rumors out there, and sometimes at the very last second, people swoop in and make these deals. But these are the ones that have been announced already. And I think the one that shocked me right away off the top here is Man City has brought back Gundogan from Barcelona.
Yeah. Interesting. Obviously, Pep loves him as a player. I think he had him as a captain there for a good portion of the season last year, so or 2 years ago. Obviously, things didn't work out at Barcelona, so he's back. I mean, he's going to probably. I don't think there's going to be any issues with him readjusting to how things need to be played, but I think he's a good addition to the group. Plus, it's interesting that he's a German. He was playing for a German coach, but didn't like it.
Yeah,
so, interesting.
Well, when I was a kid here in Chicago, all the ethnics had their teams, right? And I'm a German. There were 7 German teams in Chicago because none of them could get along with each other. So that was
that makes sense. Makes perfect sense now.
It does. All right. Well, I'm just happy for Man City that they finally scored a good player. So good for them.
They need some boosting.
Yeah,
a little bit of a boost. Yeah.
Thank God. All right. Brighton signed somebody today. Matt O'Reilly from Celtic coming in.
Good player. Good player. Yeah, saw him live. Actually, when they were here he was playing with Celtic. I saw him at Notre Dame, scored the first goal against Chelsea in a pre-season game. I think he's going to definitely be a good addition for Brighton. He's just a goal scorer. He's just kind of in and around the box. I think he's definitely going to be the type of player that can bang in a few goals for Brighton. So just got himself stronger. He's the typical Brighton player, kind of underrated, but I'm sure we'll have a good season.
Ipswich has signed a couple of players, a defender Dara O'Shea from Burnley, and the winger Jack Clark comes in from Sunderland. They're kind of reminding me a little bit of when Nottingham Forest came up and they just started signing a bunch of players because they want to stay up.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and to be fair, what they've done, Ipswich has said, who's some of the best players in the Championship, and they've plucked those players.
Right.
So Burnley and Sunderland were the top 2 teams in the Championship, and they've got the 2 best players. So, okay, fair enough.
Right.
Probably a good pickup in that respect. So that will definitely enhance their ability to hopefully score some goals for them. So Jack Clark, I've seen him a few times, good player, kind of a tricky forward. I think he's going to be able to do some things for him. And then, Dara O'Shea, same thing. So he's going to be able to add some extra ability to score some goals as well. So it'll be good. Two good signings.
And Leicester City has brought in Jordan Ayew from Crystal Palace. So they have, another elderly forward to go along with Jamie Vardy. By the way, Jamie Vardy is one of the 10 Englishmen that has scored a goal this year for
That's good.
the Premier League. I love that guy. I'm sorry. There's something about him. He is such a boy, like a scamp. He's a scamp. You know what I mean?
A free spirit.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love him. All right. Fulham has signed Joachim Andersen from Crystal Palace. He had previously played for Fulham on loan, I think, and now they've got him back full time. So that's a signing. And I watched a little bit of the Fulham game. They've got Emil Smith-Rowe also from Arsenal.
Yeah. He scored a goal too.
Yeah, and you know what? He needed a chance to get back out there because he wasn't going to play much with Arsenal, was he?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, again, I understand the depth of Arsenal and obviously trying to get into a team that's doing well. It's tough. I just felt like he never got a shot. And he was obviously doing pretty well when Arteta first got there. So, yeah, I think it's a good move for him. But it's interesting, I think, like Jordan Ayew from Crystal Palace to Leicester, and then obviously Anderson going to Fulham seemed like kind of sideways moves.
Yeah.
But from what I read, I think both of them were it was basically a financial situation. They were offered more money to go there. They were at the end of their contracts, and I can get more money if I go here. And the current teams like Fulham and Crystal Palace Crystal Palace were just not willing to match what they wanted to do there. So,
right.
Yeah, can't blame the players. You know, they're kind of getting closer to the end of their careers, right? So they're no spring chickens, both those guys. So they're probably looking to kind of get their last kind of payday to try to move on. Yeah.
Well, have you heard anything else? I know that there are rumors floating out there. You've got your finger on the pulse.
I do. I've got it there. Me and Fabrizio Romano,
yeah.
If you follow Twitter, him and I are on often discussions. You know, we talk about a lot of the big signings, but I think what you're going to see as I look at my my football gossip chat line here that I'm on, I think you're going to see potentially a couple of big transfers coming through the pipeline here. There's Osimhen from Napoli, I think, is on the verge of going to Chelsea. There's still quite a few things to figure out, but there's also a Saudi Arabia interest. So that could happen. Now, going in the opposite direction, you've got other players who potentially could be going. So, for example, with Napoli, they're signing some players as well. McTominay's going over there from Manchester United, Billy Gilmore potentially. So there's a lot of things happening with Napoli. And a former Chelsea manager is there in Conte, and they are very close to signing Lukaku as well. So he's kind of getting all of his old boys back together to kind of enhance his team. So those are some big ones. Man United, I think, is on the verge of signing Manuel Ugarte from PSG, defensive center midfielder, Uruguayan player. That's going to be a big one. 42 million is what I'm hearing. So that could be happening. And then probably the last one, which is going to be big, you'll probably hear about this. Ivan Toney, he's going to go over to Saudi Arabia. So he's picking up a big paycheck. So I've heard something in the region of $400,000 a week he's going to get paid.
That's a lot of gambling money.
You said it, not I. Exactly. So, again, looking for a payday, right? So maybe there's a situation where you may only be there for a couple of years and then leave. So,
well, that would be a crushing blow to Brentford, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I think they've been a bit frustrated with his level of commitment. Obviously, he hasn't played in the first few games, so and obviously had a big impact for England as well in the Euros. But yeah, kind of a tough one for sure. But yeah, so there's going to be lots of happenings. You can certainly count on Chelsea getting rid of some players. I've heard Jadon Sancho and Raheem Sterling might do a switch.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Trade your disgruntles.
Yeah, lots of things happening. I mean, Chelsea has to get rid of players. There's no question. And
well, you think 56 is too many?
It's probably a few too many to work with.
Huh.
I mean, I'll give Maresca a lot of credit. He came out and said that, he's only working with so many players, and it's unfortunate that, those 13, 14 players are not part of that group. But it makes sense. How can you work with 42 players on a daily basis? It's like working with high schools here. They have to deal with it.
It's called pool training, Adam. It's called pool training.
Oh, yeah, pool training. That's right. Clubs do it all the time.
That's right. Well, Free Kicks is brought to you by the Illinois Youth Soccer Association.
Illinois Youth Soccer has been proudly serving the Illinois soccer community since 1975 and has a strong history of credibility. Illinois Youth Soccer is a non-profit corporation, official state association, and charter member of U.S. Soccer Federation, administers U.S. Soccer Federation coaching programs, the Olympic Development Program, and U.S. Soccer Federation referee programs. For more information, go to IllinoisYouthSoccer.org.
Okay, time for another feature.
Time now to guess the Premier League star.
Okay, and this is, a little area of contention between the two of us.
Yeah, massive. But, I mean, I can't even remember the guy from last week. He's not even playing anymore. That's the funny thing.
For 1 week, he was a star.
Who was it? The Ipswich. It was the Ipswich captain, right?
Yeah, it was Sam something or other. I don't even know.
Exactly. There you go. Yeah. A star. Come on.
All right. Well, this one, I know you've heard of this guy. All right. I'm 100% sure that you know who this guy is. All right. He's 32 years old, and he is beginning his third season with his current Premier League club. All right. Okay. Now, he's played in this league for a long time. He's played for other clubs. He's played for Newcastle. He's played for Burnley. He's played for Leicester City. And he's now with the fourth team. Okay? He's played 229 Premier League matches. And he scored 70 goals. And 6 of the last 8 seasons, he had double digits in goals. So, when you think of goal scorers, he's one of the guys you've got to think about him. He's a forward.
Yeah.
And he wears number 11.
Ooh, number 11.
Yeah. Now, he's a captain of his national team, but again, that team is not England. And he is one of the players that I mentioned earlier from other countries that scored a goal so far this year.
Wow. This is a tricky one.
All right. Okay, I've got one that might be a bit of a giveaway, but let's try it. He's a Kiwi.
Okay. So he's from New Zealand.
Yes.
I don't know too many New Zealand players. Oh, yes, of course I do. Yes. So currently playing with Nottingham Forest. Would that be the player? And has scored. It's funny. I was thinking of picking him up as a one of my players on my fantasy team, but I chose not to do it. But it was a tough one. But I didn't realize he wore number 11. That kind of throws you off.
Yeah, it does.
It's not your. He should be wearing number 9. There's no question. So. That's got to be Mr. Chris Wood.
Yeah, that's right. I was thinking about the fact that his name is Wood and he plays for Nottingham Forest.
There you go.
It seems like a perfect mixture, doesn't it? It works out.
You could have done some of the sheriff and the Nottingham, the forest and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, no, I'd like to diversify here. I've got to come up with new material too.
Yeah, I get it. I tell you what, though, I'm just looking. As we were doing, I was looking him up here. He's played on a lot of teams.
Yeah, he has.
Goodness gracious, he's almost got the whole Premier League covered. I mean,
I know.
You don't realize, and that's just teams in England. He's played in probably most divisions, and has played a lot of games for them. So we're talking 20, 30 games at least for each of these groups. So didn't realize he was at Leeds United for a while too. Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, he is a good goal scorer. He's not maybe one of the top 5 or 6 in the league, but he is. If you're looking for someone that you need to knock in a couple of goals, he's one of your guys, right?
I tell you, I mean, he probably didn't do great at Newcastle, and he kind of sorted things out for a while. But looking at statistically at Nottingham Forest, 32 appearances. I mean, you can add the 7 when he was on loan, but 39 appearances, 15 goals.
Yeah, pretty good.
That's really good. If you would take that any day for a striker, no question.
So no dispute on whether or not he's a Premier League star?
I'll go with it. Yeah,
okay.
He's now a star just because of what he's doing with Forest.
Okay.
I would dispute it before, but he did have a good career at Burnley, so yeah.
All right, it's time for my favorite feature.
Now time for Adam's Weekend Soccer TV Tip.
So I'm back in the groove. Watching these games or matches rather every weekend. What am I watching this weekend?
Yeah, last weekend was tough for me. I didn't get to watch all the games because I was down in beautiful southern Illinois. By the way, for people who are listening to this, it is bloody hot in the Midwest. Yeah. And it was probably another 10 degrees warmer down there. So it was toasty. But one thing that I am going to be able to do this weekend is watch a lot of games. I'm really excited about it. And I have picked the best weekend to watch these games. So I'm going to give you 3 games.
Okay.
Because I think they're all really, really good. You've got a top-of-the-table clash. You're going to have to set the alarm. 6:30 in the morning on Saturday.
Oh, God.
I know. Arsenal versus Brighton could be a really good game.
Yeah.
I think you're going to enjoy that one. So you may have to either record it or get up.
Playing at Arsenal?
Playing at Arsenal.
Okay.
Yeah. At the Emirates. I almost said Highbury there. That's how kind of scared I am. Secondly, Sunday is going to be a fantastic day. I mean, I would even say you need to just put yourself on the couch and watch all these games. So you've got to watch Chelsea. They're flying. They're back. They're the team to beat. 6 goals. Chelsea, Crystal Palace.
They did look pretty good. I must say, they did look pretty good.
Oh my goodness, it's fantastic. It was goals alert on my phone. I'm teaching and my phone's blowing up. I almost said, "Hang on a second, I got to watch the game."
Hey, let me ask you something about Neto.
Yeah.
Now with Chelsea, right?
Yep.
Formerly of Wolves.
Correct.
Scored a goal.
Set up a goal.
Set up a goal.
Yeah.
And then you saw this, right? Big celebration. It's an unwritten rule, isn't it, in the Premier League to not do that?
I think. Well, yeah, it's an interesting one because you don't do that. I guess he didn't score,
right?
So that's a
loophole.
So maybe he got away with it from that standpoint. I don't know, but yeah, I would say it was probably a little harsh. He probably could have calmed it down.
Okay.
It was funny on their social media before the game. They actually showed a video of him hugging every Wolves player there, so I thought that was quite funny.
Okay.
But, then he just said, "Screw you! I'm playing for Chelsea." So one of those things.
Okay.
But then
this
could be the biggest game of the day. Really the biggest game of the weekend. It's arguably the biggest derby, and I put that in parentheses because it's not a true derby, but in terms of tradition, this is the game that all the Man United players look forward to.
Yeah.
All the Liverpool players look forward to. They're playing at, I would definitely categorize it as Old Trafford because it's got a leaky roof.
Uh-huh.
So they're playing at Man United against Liverpool. You've got to watch that game. There's no question. That's going to be a good one. 10 o'clock kickoff, so that works out great for your schedule.
It actually doesn't in this case because I am going to be in St. Louis at a
St. Louis.
Yes, I know, for the National Donnerschwaben Treffung, as they call it, meeting, and so I'm going to have to be at like a dance competition that morning. Which is going to just absolutely kill me while that game is going on.
I tell you what, the fact that you told me that just sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
That's one.
I'm humiliated. I'm humiliated. But I agreed to it. I didn't look at the schedule. I didn't cross-check my tabs. I agreed yeah. So I'm going to have to be sitting there at the meeting with the phone underneath the table,
Perfectly normal. Maybe they can put it on the big screen in the back.
That's the least they could do. It's the least they could do.
Man United, Liverpool, come on.
I know. All right. Free Kicks is brought to you by Green White Soccer Club. That's the club that is sending me to St. Louis this coming weekend. greenwhitesoccer.org if you'd like to participate. We have teams for every age, all the way up through over 50s. All right, we have people to thank for this show. We need to thank our executive producer, Tony Lasana, with Opie Shows. Thank you, Tony, for that for everything you do. Also, thank you to Ed Silla, the Radio Misfits Podcast Network. Great Talk Radio isn't dead. It just moved to a better place. RadioMisfits.com. And next week, we've got our big prediction show. So be sure to tune in. We'll be back next week with another episode of Free Kicks.
The proceeding was a presentation of the Radio Misfits Podcast Network. Find our other great shows on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and at RadioMisfits.com. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
This has been a presentation of Opie Productions.
Tony, can you shut up?